Hey everybody, today I want to talk to you about the 5 reasons why I left the United States, and also the 5 reasons why I chose the Philippines as the place I'm going to retire to. I hope you like this video and subscribe to our channel. Now, just like everybody else, the number one reason I left the United States was the cost of living. Now, prior to COVID, my rent was going up a lot. The cost for a new car or a used car was high, so I decided I'm going to leave the country when I retire. I was thinking Europe, maybe Spain or Portugal, or South America. I had a lot of different places I was thinking of going to, and the reason was because of the cost of living. I was going to be on a fixed income. I'd be living on my Social Security benefits, and I just didn't feel like I would have a good quality life in the United States on a fixed income. When I was living in Las Vegas, Nevada, my rent was almost $1,500 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment. Now that was in a very nice neighborhood. It was a very nice place to live. It had all the amenities. It had pool, tennis court, everything you need, gym. And I was working, you know, I was making $60K plus, and it was a nice place to live. It was good for my dating life, but knowing that in the future I was going to be on a fixed income and I wouldn't be able to afford anything of that nature. And I didn't want to be moving to some small town in the south of the United States or in the Midwest of the United States. I wanted to have a comfortable life, and I wanted to enjoy a quality of life that I did not feel I could enjoy in the United States. You know, when you go out to have a nice meal, you go out for entertainment, you take a day trip, all these things are so expensive. And when you're working and you're younger, it's all good. But now because of COVID, I got stuck living in the United States once I retired. And the cost of living there was so high, even during COVID, that I had to go back to work. In 2019, I had planned to leave the States and come to the Philippines. There was a family problem. I decided to spend the winter in the US and leave in the spring of 2020. COVID hit and I was stuck there until February of 2022. And I had a 2021 Silverado 4-wheel drive pickup truck. And I had to put a lot of money down on that, and it still had a large monthly payment. Had an insurance payment also, and I had to drive a long way to go from where I was living to where I was working. I put a lot of mileage on the vehicle, the cost of gas, even an oil change. You know, it cost me $140 to get an oil change at the Jiffy Lube. The cost of living was just outrageous and getting out of control. And even now, everything I'm reading about it, it's even worse than ever before. So the number one reason for me to leave the United States was the cost of living and how my money couldn't go far on a fixed income after I retired. The number 2 reason was it was no longer a peaceful life in the United States. You could no longer enjoy life. You know, when I was in Las Vegas, I'd go down to Sunset Park or I'd go walk down the Strip. The places you would go to, you know, the skateboarders would come by. Nobody had respect for anybody of old age. Face it, once you became a senior, once you became older, you were just in everybody's way. Skateboarders would come by yelling, "Get out of my way, old man." You'd be walking down the Strip or in one of the parks or anywhere, and people would just be rude. Not just because you're old, but people are just rude to begin with. You know, there's the time when I'm in the Walmart parking lot and I'm waiting for someone to back out of their parking space so I could take it. I'm waiting patiently. They're slowly backing out. As soon as they back out, somebody, zoom, takes that spot. I've been waiting patiently. It seems like people don't have respect anymore. People only are worried about themselves. And it's all right to worry about yourself, but you still have to respect for the other man. How many times you're driving down the road and somebody would cut you off, flip you off? You know, they would be at fault. They would cut you off into your lane, and you would like beep your horn and let them know they're close, or for whatever reason you beep your horn. All of a sudden they're giving you the finger like you've done everything wrong. A lot of it has to do with a peaceful quality life. Everywhere you go, it's a rat race. People are rude. Nobody really talks or says hello. It was just not a peaceful quality life living in a bigger city of Las Vegas. I don't know how it is in rural America, small towns, but in the bigger city, you're the old man, get out of my way. Even in the casino, if you walk through the casino, somebody bumps into you, you know, they're drunk, or they got, you know, they have a drink in their hand and chips in their hand, and they're in a hurry, and they bump into you. There's no I'm sorry or nothing. It's like, get out of my way, I'm in a hurry. So a peaceful life was going to be hard to have in my 60s in the US. And then I was just getting bored. That's the reason number 3. I was just getting bored with the same thing day in, day out. No matter where I lived, when I was living in the mountains of New Mexico for the last 2 years, or in Las Vegas. You would get up in the morning when you were working, you'd have your morning routine, you know, hurry up and make coffee, shower, run out the door, run to work, do whatever your job was, come on home, you know, watch TV, watch the news, go for a walk, whatever you did, but it was the same thing over and over again. You couldn't afford to go, you know, on day trips every other day. All the money you made in your work was spent on your bills. Very little bit of money you could put away. It was just a rat race. And I got bored of the rat race. I get bored of driving in the heavy traffic. And I got bored of, in the grocery store, rude people. I got bored of, the society has gone from a helpful, pleasant place to live to a very aggressive society. The US has become very aggressive, in my opinion. I'm a Democrat, but when I was voting, people who I would endorse or send money to, it wasn't the party, it was the person. We used to vote for the best person for the job. Now everybody's wearing a blue or a red jacket, and they stick with it no matter the qualities of the candidate or the person. So, boredom of life, boredom of the politics, bored with the rudeness. I just got bored of it, and I didn't want to stay there anymore. I hope you take a moment to like this video and leave a comment below. What are the reasons you left the United States? What reasons would cause you to leave the United States? And why would you choose the Philippines? Of all the countries in the world, why would you choose the Philippines? I'm interested, my viewers are interested. Leave a comment and I'll try to reply to all the comments. The climate. Now, I lived in Las Vegas. In the summertime, it'd be 113 degrees, 5, 6, 7 days in a row. Get up to 115 maybe, but if it hit 105, you said it was a cooling off period. The weather got cool. It was a dry heat. I don't know what that meant to anybody. It was just hot. And if you didn't work nights or you didn't work inside in air conditioning, you suffered if you worked construction, tile work, or any kind of work outside. So the climate was not pleasant for me in the United States. If you lived in the northern part of the country, northeast, when I was in Ohio in the wintertime, I drove to work one day in a blizzard and I had a flat tire. On the way home from work, I had a flat tire on the other side of the car. That's when I decided I was moving to Las Vegas to get away from the snow, to get away from the blizzard conditions. The climate was, I did not like living in the snow anymore, even though I had over 40 years in Northeast Ohio. I didn't like the snow. I didn't like the winter I didn't like the blizzards. And then when I moved to Las Vegas, the heat started to get to me. So there was no pleasant climate that I was living in at the time. And I wanted to live somewhere a little bit more tropical, somewhere a little bit more year-round consistent. And that was Southeast Asia, or maybe South America at the time. Portugal and Spain also had nice climates. But I got tired of the high heat of Las Vegas, and I didn't want to go back to the snow of Northeast Ohio or the northern or eastern parts of the country. The last reason was I didn't feel safe. I never felt safe ever since I moved to Las Vegas. We went to Las Vegas in 1997. We rented a U-Haul, put all our belongings in it, our furniture and such, and drove across country. And when we got to the place we were going to rent, it was after dark. And I told my wife at the time, we're just going to park it here in the complex. We'll go stay in a hotel and we'll come back the next day. We had a U-Haul and my car. Well, some lady yelled down from her balcony, said, if you leave that truck there, when you come back in the morning, it's going to be empty. So right there I knew most of Las Vegas wasn't a safe place, at least where we were going to live. You always had that worry if you left your vehicle unlocked, you come back and it's been ransacked. People are always going through the parking lots, checking the door handle, see if the door is locked. People are stealing packages off your porch, what they call them, porch pirates, identity theft. Everybody, it seems, is out to get you in the United States. I found it to be totally unsafe. For most of you, you're probably as safe as can be, you're happy as can be, but for me, I didn't feel safe. It just got frustrating. And the safety concerns, you're always reading, especially when I lived in Albuquerque the last couple years, their murder rate was, every year was the highest ever. And then the news almost every day is Albuquerque's becoming the murder capital of the United States. And you'd hear the same thing about Chicago, and you'd hear the same thing about Pittsburgh or Philadelphia. The crime was getting a little bit scary. So I found the United States was starting to become unsafe. And the politics maybe was causing a lot of the stress and the uneasiness of feeling safe or unsafe. Seemed like everybody either wore, like I said, the blue jacket or the red jacket. And depending on which side you were on, were you safe that day in the location you were at or the event you went to. So safety was the number 5 reason that I left the United States. Excuse me while I have a sip of coffee every now and then. But my 5 reasons for picking the Philippines to live compared to Thailand, Vietnam, Portugal or Spain, or South America. Number 5 reason was the dating life. Everything I read, all the blogs I saw said older men could find girls to date here, and it wasn't a problem. It'd be easy to find a girl in her 40s, early 50s, even 30s to date. And so that was a good point for me. I didn't have a girlfriend in the United States. I had dates. I had girls that I went out with, but there was nobody that interested me to make a long-term commitment with or to be with. Number 4 on my list of 5 things, the respect they have for their senior citizens. Now, when I go into the bank, I don't have to stand in that long line at the bank. There's a certain area for the seniors and you get waited on right away. Same thing with paying your power bill or paying your water bill. Anywhere you go where they have a senior line, they always let the seniors first. And the security makes sure you're first or you're next. They have a separate place for the seniors to sit. There might be 2 or 3 in line, but you're not in that line of 50 or 30 or 20. And security makes sure that only the seniors are in that line. So there's this thing about the respect for the seniors. You know, they move aside for you when you're carrying something. They hold the door for you. There's more respect for people of age here, and I'm not saying an American of age, but any people of age, especially the Filipinos. They have a high respect for their grandmothers and grandfathers, and everybody's grandmother and grandfather. There's a high respect for the seniors, for the elderly, for the older people. There's a respect for older. If they're 20 and you're 30, there's a respect because you're older. And if you're 30, you respect the people who are 40. It's in their nature. It's just the way they are. It's a nice thing to feel, the respect people have because you're older. And it's just respect. And that's something you don't get in the States, but you do get in the Philippines. A lot of people, this would be the number one item, but to me it's the number 3 item of my top 5 reasons to live in the Philippines. They speak English here. Everywhere you go, somebody speaks English. Now their English might be broken, they might get a nosebleed trying to speak with you, but they speak English. And if you're in the stores, you're in a department store, you're in the mall, the people speak English. And when they wait on you, it is, "Thank you, sir. You're welcome, sir." When you go to a restaurant and ordering the food, it's nice to speak to someone in English. If you go to Thailand or Vietnam, maybe you won't have an English-speaking waiter. If you're in Portugal or Spain, chances are you won't. Maybe in a tourist town. But if you're in a small town or small village and you just go to a local restaurant, maybe somebody speaks English. Same thing with South America. If you don't speak Spanish, I think the language is a big barrier. And because they speak English here in the Philippines, and English is one of the main languages, I think it's a great place to live. The number 2 reason out of 5 is the cost of living. You live here so much cheaper, it's so much more affordable than in the US. Rent is the number 1 cost savings thing. You come here, your rent is a third, depending on the style of living you want, but it's so much less. If you were paying $2,000 a month rent or $3,000 a month rent, if you were living in New York City, maybe in Miami, or LA, I don't know the rents in those very large cities, but you can live here in a penthouse for that money. You can live in a gorgeous home with a pool for that kind of money. Me, I had a 1-bedroom apartment in Las Vegas, and with the water bill and the trash bill that they gave you and a few other fees that you had, my rent was close to $1,500 a month. Here, I live in a 4-bedroom house with 2 bathrooms, fully furnished, 2 televisions, 3 or 4 sofas, a dining table, all the kitchen items I need, and it cost me about $425 a month. Rent is the number 1 savings for you coming here to live in the Philippines. You can find rent a lot cheaper. You can find rent for $200 a month. You can find places depending on your lifestyle. If you want to rough it a little bit, you can get down to $100 a month. You can find places that cheap to live and still have a fairly good quality of life. I wouldn't want to live that inexpensive, but everybody's different. But the cost of living here is a lot cheaper, and rent is the number 1 thing that you're going to save on. The second item you save on is eating out. I think if you decide you want to go eat out one day, you know, different local restaurants, they're owned, a lot of them are owned by foreigners. They're a lot less expensive than back in the US. Your entertainment cost here is a lot less because you're not paying for everything. You can go to the beach for free. You can go to a resort and hang out in a resort with a pool and a beautiful access to the beach and pay 80 pesos, you know, $1.50 for the day use. You and your girlfriend, or you and your, say you have a family of 4, you're going for 320 pesos for a day use at a resort with a swimming pool, covered picnic area, use of a barbecue, access to a beach and a clean beach. and it's going to cost you $7 total. In the US, you go somewhere like that, it's costing you $100 plus. These little resorts going out towards Darwin, Chaton, Biowan, their day rate resort fee is minimal, 50 pesos up to 100 pesos per person. And they're beautiful beaches. So you can go spend a day somewhere nice, family of 4, family of 2 for just a couple bucks. Groceries here, I think the meats are less expensive than in the US or comparable. I think the vegetables here, right now it seems like everything's up, but overall I think everything is less expensive than in the US. As I see inflation here, I'm reading about big inflation back in the US. So living here, eating here, going out for entertainment here, all of this is less expensive. So the number 2 reason for me to be here is the cost of living. I save a lot of money living here. I live on $1,500 a month. You can check out my budget blogs. And I live a comfortable, nice life, family of 3. Now my number 1 reason for being in the Philippines is you get a chance to reboot your life. You can go from that guy, whoever you were, however your personality was, you can reboot, you can rechange. If you had a temper in the States, if you were an aggressive driver, whatever you had, if you had trouble with relationships, you come to the Philippines, you clean your head out, you clear your head, you can start anew. Don't bring the excess baggage with you, and you can have a peaceful life here. Have some patience, and you can really enjoy life here in the Philippines. You can travel, you can settle down with somebody, you can be a playboy. You can choose whatever type of life you want to have, you can have here. You can reboot your life. You can start anew. You can come here, and if you're a retired guy, you can come here and enjoy the last 30 of your life peacefully and doing the things you like to do. If you like swimming, go swimming. If you like snorkeling, you want to learn, just buy the equipment and go learn. You want to travel up to mountains, you want to learn how to ride a motorcycle, you want to, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to be, you can do that here. Just be a good person when you're here. But you can reboot your life, you can start over. You can leave all the baggage behind, you can leave all the BS behind. You know, trying to appease an old boss all the time, or try to keep your neighbors happy, keeping family members happy. Everybody has a story. Everybody's leaving behind something. Everybody is leaving something that wasn't good. If you had the perfect life in the States, you'd probably just stay in the States. So you come here, reboot your life, get a fresh start on everything, and have a peaceful retirement and enjoy your life. I hope you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching. Until next time.